So the question was all along, who is it that brought or was behind the bringing of the Palestinians that came with undocumented papers over to our Tambo, Johannesburg? And the president was like, we can't just turn them back. Deal with the things that are being exposed. He doesn't want to do that. They would rather shield. Whenever you see things like this, shielding. They want us to be worried about the Palestinians now while they get away and hide what they were being exposed about. That's what the whole agenda is. That's why they want to just allow this, run under. By the way, the organization that is responsible for that has been exposed to. Which organization is it? Islamic organization in Europe. So that made me think, you guys remember when the Muslims went to the UK seeking asylum, over a period of about 10 years or so. Bear in mind, they were running away from jihadists. And then when they get to thingy, they start protesting. So it becomes very weird. But anyways, when they now got to the UK, some strange things started to happen. You started to see this sympathy divide, sympathy divide, sympathy divide, to a point where the UK right now is completely divided because of people who are extremists. So I want to take you 10 years back so that we can see what can happen if you just, I think it was better off if you take people who are particularly from a region like Gaza, take them to an Islamic agreeing country, right? Because they might believe in Sharia law. Sharia law is the law of Islam. Christians can be in a country and they don't be there like, hey, 10 commandments, because not everybody is a Christian, right? Period, we did see a lot of Arab people protesting for Palestine with Mandela pictures and South African president statements and stuff like that. Because why? When presidents are shielding, they tend to do this type of thing of kind of using outside conversations so that you are worried about that. They get out of it. So 2010, the soldiers are coming back from from Afghanistan. And the moment they come back, the protesters who came to the country seeking asylum were now protesting against. Go around that same period, November 2010, Muslims start to get into tussles with the police. Later on, around that very same year, before you know it, you start seeing 2010 also right there. They start now blocking roads to pray in the street. Okay, no problem. When those soldiers were thingy, they started flying this flag here. Once you see this black letter flag here, trouble is on the rise. Trouble is on the rise, because that's not a flag from your country. It's a flag of Islam domination over the world. When you see that flag, you must know there's trouble. There are foreigners in this country. This country is now the one where they reside. They are protected by this country. They start wanting to override the views of people in that country. Start flying their flag, protesting against the soldiers of the country. The safety now becomes something else. Man, guilty of burning Hampi in Amnesty Day protest. That's 2011. Now these guys are now protected by this country, so they now turn and start doing very wild things. And you see that flag in there again. Britain soldiers burn in hell. Now the very same country that they want to be protected by, they are now in opposition to the soldiers of that country. And you see that flag in there. So a lot of people start thinking, you know what, maybe let's just, if we stay out of their way, it's cool, they'll come down and understand, hey, this is not that country, y'all chill out. No. 2012, you start seeing growing use of Sharia by the UK Muslims. In a space of 3 years, you start to see, this is by the BBC, you can see it right there, and they start talking concerning that whole thing, okay, the use of Sharia or Sharia law or laws by the religious organization. Sharia law is terrible. It's the law, this particular law of Islam is terrible. To just accept, no, they want to now run their issues in your country with their own laws. And by the way, some of these laws go to as far as if you steal, your hand can be cut off. What? If a person leaves the religion, they can be beat up. What? It gets crazy. They now safe. It's all good. They now protest against the things that you guys do. Now, in this country, if you mocked Christians, it's like, yeah, hey, man, come on, tune it down. What are you doing? It's not going to be big, major news or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, it's only us on social media who will talk about it and Christians on social media. It will never make big news if you criticized a religion, okay? But once they come, if you say anything pertaining them and their beliefs, they start playing pity party. That's 2012. So the growth of Sharia law is growing. Now they are now protesting against you, who's now keeping them or housing them. Things that you guys would now maybe do pertaining different religions, now y'all can't do that because now the Mandams, they now start taking and exporting those ideas and bring them over. 2012, when the subject matter of September 11 come back up and those particular radicals issues come up, they now start using that around the same time. Just they now start using that to kind of supposedly draw the line between these ideas, start protesting these very ideas. The things that you guys would mock and what and joke about, Muslims joke about Christians joke about, that stops. They start protesting. That's their protest. They now protest the liberties that you guys have, or they exploit this idea of free speech. And free speech to them is silencing you and them saying whatever. And how do we know that? You'll see. I'll show you that it means completely something else when it comes to you. Okay? So the BBC even come and talk about that anti-Islam film and whatnot. Now bear in mind, this film comes from the very idea that the previous year there was a bombing in the US. So films and movies and documentaries tend to reflect the things that are happening in that time. And so it makes sense that they were making that around that time. It's not anti-Islam, it's that there is an ideology that the people who did that bombing held. That's what the film shows, to warn people. But nope, they now start not separating themselves from that. Taken those rules that they uphold by the Quran and kept them in a country that actually holds to them. No, they would rather grow full Sharia laws in Britain. They try to bring those ideas into your thing. Alongside the same time, 2014, start coming up, tolerance, show tolerance, let's promote each other, unity. But wait a minute, you're promoting the idea of Sharia law. This is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And while you are in blindness and advocating for that, guess what they start doing?
Bin Laden on his way! Bin Laden on his way! After Fajr prayer early in the morning, and they take them to a police station.
Now Tony Blair has been warned. Pull your troops out of Afghanistan. Pull your troops out of Iraq. And if you do not pull your troops out, you will get bloodshed on the streets of London.
They start threatening. They start threatening the very country protecting them. That's not right.
Out of Afghanistan. Pull your troops out of Iraq. And if you do not pull your troops out, you will get bloodshed on the streets of London.
Why are you now threatening the people in that country that's supposedly housing you? Make it make sense. Like, why was that? There were even petitions that people in the UK started posting out. This is around that same time, okay? This is around that same time, 2013. People started putting out signatures to get the ban on Sharia law in the UK. Forget what you guys are. That's why people now come up to start protesting against them. Around that same time, 2013, people started to protest against, because they could now see this particular threat. And remember, while you start doing that, and they are moving to push this Sharia law or this law of Islam over you, you have other Muslims that are coming and saying, peace, my brother, peace, tolerance, peace. Peace. So you are left hanging in between. Which one is which? You have to keep in memory that image that you saw earlier on, because that image will bring war. It's because it's these ideas that they took from these countries, radicalized. Protest starts to erupt. 2015, anti-Islam protest in Newcastle. Muslims protest against freedom of speech. You see what's happening. They're now protesting freedom of speech. But then, if you were to make a mockery picture, which is freedom of speech, if you made a mockery picture of Islam or something like that, they will come after you. So over time, they said, no, freedom of speech, you know? And you will think, no, that's exactly what we are talking about. Nope, what they're talking about is something else. CNN reports 10 arrested so far in British soldiers killing as Muslims face fear backlash. Why? Because that's where the problem comes from. These radicalized ideas within Islam. There are Muslims that don't want to acknowledge the radicalized ideas in their thing, but those who know, they know there are radicalized ideas inside here. 2013, you see the time. Why? Because now 10 people, one soldier is killed, 10 people connected to that whole thing. Okay? Around the same time. Now, alongside that, you have people that sympathizers, like Al Jazeera sometimes, they'll be doing that, you know, London protests over immigration crackdown. Because of these things where the ideologies from the religion have certain groups of people who are radicalized, this is why you will see more posts like this around the same time. Muslims face worsening environment for hate in the UK. It's because, where did it come from? Wait, the very same people who are there saying that we will kill people in the streets in London. Why are you bringing that war here? But now, this comes out, this type of articles by Al Jazeera, this is pity party, you know, human rights. You see the title there, human rights, the situation is worsening. 2015, London, the environment is a bit hostile, you know, people in the UK are not so hospitable concerning things. No, listen to what the ideology says. Listen to what they are saying. Deal with that. Tackle that. Deport that. More articles. Go on. 2015. Attacks in thingy. As France struggled to integrate Muslims and thingy. Now, why? We've seen growing Sharia law ideas. So now people start asking. Around 2015, people had questions about what exactly is Sharia law and what does it push forward and whatnot. There was even a documentary made in 2016 that was kind of like critical about how Americans were dealing with the thingy, but I thought there was something very interesting in that documentary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We believe in all the prophets, from the first prophet to the last.
You also believe in Sharia law.
Could you read that?
Yes, this is the most hateful, sexist,
When you
racist,
read the
homophobic book I've...
They're questioning Sharia law. If you come and you are trying to implement, which is exactly what was happening, don't be in denial. What do you believe about that?
Can you read?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm
No.
gonna read it. I'm gonna
Read
rip
from the
it.
beginning.
And the guy refuses for them to read because he knows what's in there. He hopes that you don't know what's in there. Sharia in the community, in a country that has its own rules, it sends red flags. That's why people are resistant. Now, they start petitioning. In the parliament, 2017 to 2019, they were petitioning for the Muslim holidays to be included within Thingy. It's a Christian country. They now start petitioning to have their holidays. And they are not addressing all this. So now, guess what's happening? Everybody's in support. Support Palestine. Over time, people become so softened to a point where they are not resistant, even as the ideologies are repulsed in their idea. Unite. Okay, 2024. You start seeing people easily now mushed to this whole idea. Over time, there is only one person who changes, and that is you. It's never their ideology. Their ideologies never change. And I want to be very specific here. I'm talking about people who are Muslims from these particular radicalized countries. There's been several people who they've been pushing this idea. You've been seeing a lot of people wearing scarves, Palestinian scarves and all these things. You saw the launch of Maibuye, they had the scarves and everything. And so it becomes a whole push to just see as many people on their side. But over time, I'm telling you, it's only you that compromises. Then nothing changes. You know, it's Islamophobia, it's on a rampant. Islamophobia, it's on a rampant. But then the people that are saying all those radicalized statements, did they change? Nope. It's only you that's going to change.